Welcome to Right Republic, a channel dedicated to providing a right-wing perspective of Indian politics. The right is usually right. In the last video, we saw how China has bungled its diplomacy and has created a situation where its reputation is at its lowest in the last 30 years, at least since the 1989 Tiananmen incident. So how should India respond? How can India make use of this situation to its advantage? So this is the best time in many ways because China's global reputation is very low and many countries and companies are trying to move their supply chains to other countries. And the US especially is very supportive of India's efforts to bring back some of its industry, India's efforts to promote self-reliance and move away some of the factories from China, and also how to ensure that India is self-reliant on some key components like automobile components, or let's say pharma APIs, on which China holds a monopoly. Almost monopoly. 97% of the APIs are produced in China. APIs meaning active pharma ingredients, which are the basic block of most vaccines and other medicines. So how India can do that? So we will discuss those things in detail. In addition, how do we respond to China's provocations in the Galwan Valley and in the Ladakh region as a whole? So we will look at that. The first thing is to ensure that we make use of the advantage that India has in terms of global opinion. There is almost very little pushback against Indian efforts to, let's say, ban TikTok or any other measure that India has introduced in the recent days to retaliate against China. So we should continue along those lines. I would discuss some of these measures. The first thing is we need to follow the lead of US, UK and Australia and ban Huawei. That will be the clearest signal of intent from India against China, because there are military measures, sure, but the more important thing is we need to take these economic measures to ensure that China doesn't make money of India at this time. So UK has already announced a ban on purchase of new Huawei equipment from the end of this year, and they have given a time frame for the British telecom sector to remove all Huawei equipment by 2027. It may seem like a very long time, but the signals are already there. We need to show that kind of intent. So India should have a clear statement saying we will ban Huawei and ZTE technologies from any of our telecom infrastructure as regards to the rollout of 5G. US has already done that. India has already announced that BSNL will have a ban on purchase of Huawei equipment for its existing 4G infrastructure. Then, from a military perspective, we should not dither anymore. We made a mistake by not being by not joining the Quad in 2007 because of Chinese objections. We should just make our choices clear. There should be no ambiguity now. We should clearly make efforts to join the Quad, so that we can start exercise. You can start exercise at a later date, but you can immediately announce the intent to join. And we should also make efforts to expand Quad to include countries like Vietnam. So that would send a clear signal to China. And then we should also increase naval presence in the Bay of Bengal in the Indian Ocean. I don't know why this advantage has not been forced in the last 10-20 years. If China had such an advantage against India, they would be talking about it and pressing India every single day. So that's one thing. And then we should be more forceful diplomatically about Hong Kong and Taiwan. Already some signals are there. India in the United Nations made some statements about Hong Kong and the independence of Hong Kong. But we should do the same thing with Taiwan. There is no need to be sensitive to Chinese feelings about this anymore. They are not sensitive to our feelings on Kashmir, so we don't need to respect their feelings on this. In addition, we can do naval exercises in the South China Sea. Again, there is nothing which prevents us, because China doesn't stop doing exercises in the Indian Ocean. They are constantly expanding their presence in the Indian Ocean, whether it's in Maldives or Sri Lanka or in Myanmar in the Cocos Islands. So we should have no problems doing the same thing in the South China Sea. In addition, we need to take care of our own domestic economy. What do? The first place would be to revitalize these economic measures, which Modi tried to do in his first term, but didn't succeed. So the good thing is labor reform ordinances have already been passed. We discussed it in a previous video. So in this monsoon session of Parliament, he needs to quickly pass labor reforms, land and agri reforms. We also covered that in a separate video. So there's been a good start made with respect to the production-linked incentive schemes for pharma API. The government just announced a multi-thousand crore initiative for that, because the template is already there with the cell phone industry. Apple has already announced the intent to start manufacturing iPhone 11 in India. The first time they are doing that. So that is a success of the production-linked incentive scheme for mobile phone components. So we should do the same thing in the pharma sector, which is good. They have already announced the intent, and there are plans to include more sectors like automobile components and food processing. There are, I think, 5 more sectors in the Indian economy where the government plans to expand these production-linked incentives to. And the next thing is demand stimulus, which was missing in the first stimulus package announced by Modi. They say about 21 lakh crores, but if you see the reality, it's less than 1.5 lakh crores is direct stimulus. The rest are all supply-side schemes. So the Chief Economic Advisor, Krishnamurthy Subramanian, has already announced the intent to announce a demand stimulus. He says the right time. What is the right time? So probably the right time, according to him, is around the time when the vaccine is ready. I would say stage 3 for the vaccine, where it is rolled out. The vaccine can be rolled out to a larger section of the population. And the next thing they can do is rationalization of the direct tax rates. Now, Nirmala Sitharaman has announced a 7-tier direct tax system, which is completely confusing. And there is also this additional confusion of people having the choice to go to the new slabs or the old slabs, depending on where they would have the maximum benefits. We need to remove these sorts of ambiguities and go for a simple, single 3-tier system, which Manmohan Singh government had until 2014. But not only that, we need to go beyond that and ensure that the rates are still lower, and we need to include more people in the income tax bracket. And the next thing the government can do is rationalization of GST rates. Again, we have multi-tier GST rates now. So this is the right time, the best time to go to a 3-tier GST, a 5%, 15%, and at 28% for sin goods. So majority, I would say 99% should fall in the 5% or 15% bracket. And we need to immediately bring down the rates for cement, automobiles, and white goods. They need to be brought into the 15% slab. And we should not worry about the rating agencies or fiscal deficit for some time, because anyway, fiscal deficit is around 7% now with all these high tax rates and complicated tax structures. So why don't we just reduce those tax rates so at least we get the benefit of a higher economic output? So we need to do that now, because rather than focusing on growth in the next 1 or 2 years, we need to focus on reforms. So that will be a long-term advantage for India's economy, but also in a larger fight with China. I think that's what they should be doing at this stage. Thank you.